Before we begin tonight's quiet journey into history, take a slow breath in and let it out slowly. Allow your body to relax. Let the noise of the day slowly fade away. Tonight, we will travel back in time, more than 1,000 years, to a peaceful evening in the great city of Constantinople, the shining capital of the Byzantine Empire. But instead of battles or grand events, we will explore something far gentler. We will wander through the quiet, everyday moments of the people who lived there. The fishermen, the children playing in narrow streets, the families sharing simple meals as the evening lamps begin to glow. So imagine yourself standing on a small hill overlooking the city. The sun is slowly setting over the water. The sea beside the city, which people today call the Bosphorus, glimmers softly in the golden light. Ships drift quietly in the harbour, their sails folded after a long day of travel. Many have arrived from distant lands, Egypt, Syria, Greece, and beyond, carrying spices, grain, silk, and stories from faraway places. Down below, the streets of Constantinople wind like gentle rivers between rows of houses. The buildings are made from stone and brick, many painted in warm shades of red and cream. Some homes are simple. Others are tall apartment buildings where many families live together. The city is alive, but calm. A baker pulls the last round loaves from his oven. Warm bread was one of the most important foods in Byzantine life, and the smell of it drifts softly along the street. Nearby, children laugh as they splash water from a marble fountain. Fresh water flows constantly through the city, thanks. 2 long aqueducts that stretch across the hills. One of the largest of these is the Valens Aqueduct, carrying water high above the streets, before it pours gently into fountains and baths. As evening grows closer, merchants slowly close their stalls. A man selling olives ties cloth over his baskets. A woman folds colourful wool fabrics inside a wooden chest. And high above the rooftops, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia glows softly in the warm light of the setting sun. Its golden dome watches over the city like a quiet guardian. But tonight, we are not rushing anywhere. Instead, we will walk slowly through these ancient streets, listening to the soft sounds of daily life in the Byzantine world. And as the sky gently darkens above Constantinople, the city begins to settle into the calm rhythm of evening, just as your own mind may begin to slow. As our story quietly unfolds, the night slowly passes over the city of Constantinople. One by one, the stars fade from the sky. A pale blue light begins to spread across the rooftops, and the quiet streets gently wake from their sleep. Morning in the Byzantine capital does not arrive suddenly. It comes softly. A rooster calls somewhere behind a row of houses. The first baker in the neighborhood lights his oven. A faint smell of warm bread begins drifting through the cool air. Soon, people begin stepping out into the streets. Some carry baskets. Others bring small carts or clay jars. They are all walking toward one of the busiest places in the city, the market. Markets were the heart of everyday life in the Byzantine Empire. Nearly every neighborhood had one, filled with traders selling food, tools, cloth, and many other simple goods. As you walk closer, the quiet street slowly fills with gentle sounds. Wooden shutters open. A merchant sweeps dust from the front of his stall. Another arranges neat piles of olives inside wide clay bowls. Soon the market begins to look colourful and lively. Bright vegetables sit in woven baskets, onions, beans, cucumbers, and leafy greens brought in from farms outside the city walls. A fisherman arrives carrying fresh fish wrapped carefully in damp cloth. The sea is never far from Constantinople, and seafood was a common part of many meals. Nearby, a woman pours honey from a clay jar into smaller pots. Honey was the main sweet flavour in Byzantine cooking. Sugar was rare, but honey was plentiful. The smell of warm bread grows stronger. A young boy carries a tray of round loaves from the nearby bakery. The crusts are golden and slightly cracked from the heat of the oven. People greet each other with calm smiles. Some pause to talk quietly about family news, or about a ship that arrived yesterday from distant lands. Trade connected Constantinople to many parts of the world. Silk might arrive from the east, fine glass from Syria, spices from far beyond the Mediterranean. But most of what you see in this market is simple. Food for the day. Fresh vegetables. Bread still warm from the oven. Above the market streets, tall stone buildings lean slightly toward each other, casting cool shadows that make the morning air pleasant. And in the distance, the shining dome of Hagia Sophia rises above the city, catching the first golden light of the sun. But the people in the market are not thinking about monuments or history. They are thinking about breakfast, about preparing meals, about beginning another peaceful day in the great Byzantine city. The market grows busier, but never chaotic. Voices remain calm. Movements are steady. It is simply the quiet rhythm of daily life continuing, just as it has for generations. And as you imagine yourself walking slowly through these morning streets, you may feel the same gentle calm settling into your thoughts. The morning market slowly fades behind us as we walk through. Another quiet street in Constantinople. The sun is now higher in the sky, warming the stone walls of the city. People continue their daily routines, moving calmly between shops, workshops, and homes. Let us step inside one of those homes. Many families in the Byzantine Empire lived in tall buildings that rose several floors high. From the outside, these homes often looked simple, walls made from brick and stone, small wooden balconies, and narrow windows designed to keep the inside cool. Inside, the rooms feel peaceful and comfortable. The floors are often covered with simple woven rugs. Clay lamps sit on small shelves along the walls. Sunlight enters through a narrow window, forming soft golden shapes on the floor. In the center of the room stands a wooden table. A mother is preparing the family's morning meal. She slices bread that was purchased earlier from the market. A bowl of olives sits nearby, along with soft white cheese and a small clay jar filled with honey. Meals in Byzantine homes were usually simple but nourishing. Bread was almost always present. It was often eaten with vegetables, beans, fish, or cheese. Wealthier families might add spices or meat, but many meals remained modest and comforting. In another corner of the room, a small child sits quietly beside a basket of wool. She watches her grandmother carefully spinning thread using a small spindle. The wool twists slowly into fine yarn that will later become cloth. Textile work like this was a common daily activity. Many families produced their own cloth at home, creating tunics, blankets, and other useful items. Outside the window, the street continues its quiet rhythm. A neighbor carries a clay water jug home from the nearby fountain. Another man passes by leading a donkey loaded with baskets. Inside the home, the family gathers around the table. The father has returned briefly from his morning work at the docks near the Bosphorus. Ships continue to arrive from distant parts of the empire, bringing grain, silk, and other goods to the busy capital. But for now, work pauses. The family shares their simple meal together. They speak quietly about the day ahead, small tasks, errands, and visits to neighbors. There is something comforting about these ordinary moments. Empires may be remembered for grand buildings and powerful rulers, but daily life was built from simple routines like this. Families sharing bread, grandparents teaching small skills, neighbors greeting each other in the street. As the sunlight continues moving across the room, the warm and peaceful rhythm of the home continues. And as you imagine sitting quietly in this gentle space, you may feel your thoughts becoming slower, calmer, just like the steady pace of life in this ancient city. The sun has now climbed higher above the rooftops of Constantinople. The streets are warm with daylight, and the gentle rhythm of work continues across the city. Merchants greet customers, craftsmen shape tools, and cooks prepare meals for the day. Among the most important workers in the Byzantine Empire were the bakers. Bread was at the center of daily life. Nearly every meal included it, and every neighborhood depended on its local bakery. Let us quietly step inside one of these bakeries. The building is small but warm. Thick stone walls hold the heat of a large clay oven built into the back of the room. The baker has already been awake for many hours. Long before sunrise, he arrived to begin his work. He carried sacks of flour into the bakery and poured them into a wide wooden trough. Then he slowly mixed the flour with water, yeast, and a little salt. With steady hands, he kneaded the dough again and again, folding and pressing it carefully until it became smooth and soft. Now the dough rests beneath a cloth, slowly rising in the warmth of the room. The bakery smells wonderful. A gentle scent of toasted grain and warm bread fills the air. It drifts through the open doorway and into the street outside, inviting people to stop and buy their daily loaf. Soon the baker begins shaping the dough into round loaves. Each one is placed carefully onto a wooden paddle before being slid deep into the glowing oven. Inside, the fire crackles softly as the bread begins to bake. While the loaves cook, customers begin to arrive. A woman carrying a basket waits patiently near the door. A young boy from a nearby home brings a few small coins to purchase bread for his family. The baker greets them with a quiet smile. Bakeries were not just places to buy food. They were small gathering places where neighbors exchanged greetings and small pieces of news about the city. Sometimes someone might speak about a ship arriving in the harbor. Other times they simply talk about the weather or the coming harvest. After a short while, the baker pulls the finished loaves from the oven. Their crusts are golden brown and slightly cracked from the heat. A small cloud of warm steam rises as they cool. He places them into baskets lined with cloth. Soon these loaves will travel across the neighborhood, carried home for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. In this quiet way, the baker plays a small but important role in the life of Constantinople. Every day he repeats the same careful routine: mixing dough, lighting the oven, baking bread, And, though the work is simple, it helps feed an entire community. As the warm smell of bread continues drifting through the street, the calm rhythm of the bakery becomes part of the peaceful life of the city. And, perhaps, as you imagine that soft warmth and steady routine, your own thoughts begin to feel just a little slower and more relaxed. The warm smell of fresh bread slowly fades behind. As we continue walking through the streets of Constantinople, the sun now sits comfortably in the sky, casting bright light across rooftops and courtyards. The city feels alive yet peaceful. In one quiet corner of the neighborhood, the sound of children's voices can be heard, not loud or chaotic, just soft chatter and gentle laughter. Children in the Byzantine Empire lived lives that were both familiar and different from our own. Many spent part of their day helping their families. Some carried water from fountains. Others helped in shops or workshops. But many children also spent time learning to read and write. Let us step quietly into a small schoolroom. The building is simple. Its walls are made from stone and plaster, and sunlight enters through a narrow window, lighting the room with a calm glow. Inside, several children sit on wooden benches. In front of them stands their teacher, a calm and patient man holding a small wax tablet. In Byzantine schools, children often wrote on tablets covered with soft wax, using a pointed stylus to scratch letters into the surface. If a mistake was made, the wax could simply be smoothed flat again. This made learning feel slow and careful. The teacher softly reads lines from a book written in Greek. Greek was the main language spoken throughout the empire, and many lessons focused on reading famous writings from earlier centuries. Children repeat the words quietly together. Their voices rise and fall in a gentle rhythm, almost like a soft song. On a nearby table sit several scrolls and small manuscripts. Books were precious in the Byzantine world. Each one had to be copied by hand, often by skilled scribes working patiently for many hours. So every book was treated with care. The children continue practicing their letters. One child slowly traces the shapes of the Greek alphabet onto his wax tablet. Another reads aloud while the teacher nods calmly beside her. Learning was not rushed. Lessons moved slowly, giving students time to understand each word. Outside the school window, the life of the city continues. A donkey cart rolls past. Merchants call softly from nearby streets. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings from a church. And rising above the rooftops, the great dome of Hagia Sophia shines brightly in the midday sun. But inside the schoolroom, everything remains calm. The children continue writing. The teacher continues guiding them. And in this quiet space, knowledge passes gently from one generation to the next. These small lessons, letters, words, stories help shape the future of the empire. But for now, it is simply another peaceful day of learning in the great city of Constantinople. And as you imagine the soft sound of children repeating their lessons, your own thoughts may begin to drift slowly and quietly. Just like their calm voices in the warm afternoon light, the schoolroom slowly grows quiet behind. As we step once again into the sunlit streets of Constantinople. The afternoon has begun. Warm sunlight rests gently on the stone roads, and a light breeze moves through the narrow alleys of the city. Not far away stands another important part of everyday life in the Byzantine Empire, The public baths. These bathhouses were not only places to wash. They were also places where people relaxed, talked with friends, and enjoyed a peaceful break from their daily work. Let us walk quietly inside. The entrance leads into a wide stone hall. The air here feels cool and calm. Marble floors stretch across the room, worn smooth by countless footsteps over many years. A few visitors move slowly through the building. Some carry small towels. Others bring bottles of scented oil. Bathing in Byzantine cities followed a gentle routine. First, visitors entered a warm room where the air helped the body relax. Soft steam drifted through the space, rising slowly toward the curved ceiling. Stone benches lined the walls. People sat quietly, talking in calm voices. Next came the warmer bath chambers. Here, large pools of heated water waited beneath high arches. The water was warmed by clever heating systems beneath the floors, a design inherited from earlier Roman builders. Visitors lowered themselves slowly into the warm pools. The water rippled gently as they moved. Some closed their eyes and simply rested. Others spoke softly with friends about their day, about work in the market, about family, about news arriving from distant ports. Bathhouses were peaceful social spaces. Nov en rush. People moved slowly from one room to another, enjoying the calm warmth and quiet conversation. Attendants walked quietly through the halls, adding wood to the furnaces that kept the water warm. Nearby, another room held cool pools where bathers refreshed themselves after leaving the warmer chambers. The entire bathhouse felt like a quiet world of its own. Outside, the busy city continued, ships arriving, merchants trading, children playing. But inside the baths, time seemed to move more slowly. Even the sound of water dripping from the stone walls felt calm and steady. As the afternoon light filtered softly through small windows near the ceiling, the bathhouse remained a place of gentle relaxation. And when visitors finally stepped back out into the streets of Constantinople, they carried that same quiet calm with them. The peaceful rhythm of bathing had refreshed both body and mind. Just as this quiet journey through history may be slowly calming your thoughts now. The warm glow of the afternoon bath fades gently behind us as we step once more into the soft streets of Constantinople. The sun sits high above the Bosphorus, casting sparkling light across the calm waters. Ships of all sizes float slowly, their sails furled after journeys from distant lands. The harbour is a gentle rhythm of movement. A boat rocks lightly against its moorings, a rope swings softly. The faint scrape of wooden hulls against the dock echoes quietly. Trade and travel were central to daily life in the Byzantine Empire. Yet, in this hour, the harbour feels almost like a small village. People walk calmly along the wooden piers. Sailors tie knots carefully, adjusting ropes with steady hands. Merchants check their goods quietly, sacks of grain, crates of dried fish, bundles of textiles. A gentle breeze carries the faint scent of salt and olive oil. Somewhere nearby, a seagull glides just above the water, wings barely moving as it drifts lazily in the sunlight. At the edge of the pier, children watch the ships, pointing at painted hulls and decorative banners. Their voices are soft, curious, full of wonder, but never hurried. The slow pace of the harbour allows them to linger in these moments, learning quietly about the wider world through observation. Nearby, a small group of artisans unload barrels from a merchant ship. They work with careful precision, placing each barrel gently on the wooden dock. Inside the barrels are olive oil, honey, and small trinkets for local shops. The sound of their work, soft thuds and muted clanks, becomes part of the calm chorus of harbour life. Beyond the docks, fishermen bring in the day's catch. Their nets are heavy with fish, but their movements remain measured and unhurried. They chat quietly with neighbours as they carry baskets toward nearby homes or market stalls. Trade routes may stretch across the Mediterranean. But the everyday life of the harbour in Constantinople is a gentle, slow rhythm. Nothing is rushed. Every task is done with care, every movement considered. As the afternoon light softens, the great domes and towers of the city's skyline glow warmly in the sun. Hagia Sophia rises above all, its golden dome a calm, watchful presence over the harbour. And as you imagine yourself walking along the pier, feeling the gentle sway of ships beneath you, hearing the soft lapping of water and quiet voices of the city, you may notice a sense of calm settling in your own thoughts. The harbour, like the empire, moves slowly and steadily. Its rhythm carries history, trade, and daily life alike, teaching patience and quiet reflection. And in this slow, measured world, it is easy to allow your mind to drift, carried gently along with the calm waters of Constantinople's timeless harbour. The peaceful harbour slowly fades behind us as we walk deeper into the streets of Constantinople. The afternoon light has softened now. Long golden rays stretch across the city, touching rooftops, towers, and courtyards. And ahead of us rises one of the most remarkable buildings of the ancient world, Hagia Sophia, for the people of the Byzantine Empire. This enormous church was more than just a building. It was a place of quiet reflection, a place where daily life slowed down for a moment of calm. Let us step gently inside. The heavy wooden doors open slowly, and the sounds of the city fade away. Inside, the space feels vast and peaceful. High above, the enormous golden dome seems to float in the air. Sunlight enters through rows of tall windows at the base of the dome, filling the interior with a soft, glowing light. The floor beneath your feet is made of smooth marble. Each step echoes quietly across the open space. Visitors move slowly through the church. Some stand silently in prayer. Others walk calmly beneath the arches, admiring the shimmering mosaics that decorate the walls. These mosaics are made from thousands of tiny pieces of colored glass and gold. When the sunlight touches them, they sparkle gently like small stars. One mosaic shows peaceful religious figures dressed in flowing robes. Another shows scenes from ancient stories that the people of Constantinople had listened to for generations. But even beyond its beauty, Hagia Sophia feels calm. The air is cool and still. Soft voices drift through the hall, never loud, never hurried. A priest walks quietly across the marble floor carrying a small lamp filled with oil. The faint scent of incense lingers gently in the air. Nearby, a few visitors sit on stone benches along the wall. They rest peacefully, enjoying the quiet shelter of the great building. Outside, the city continues its daily rhythm, markets, ships, homes, and busy streets. But here inside Hagia Sophia, everything feels slower. The golden light moves gently across the marble floor as the sun lowers in the sky. Time itself seems softer within these walls. For centuries, people have come here seeking calm, reflection, and quiet thought. And perhaps, as you imagine standing beneath that vast golden dome, hearing only soft footsteps and distant whispers. You may feel the same peaceful stillness settling into your mind. Like the calm air inside Hagia Sophia, your thoughts can become quiet and gentle. After spending a quiet moment inside the great church, we slowly step back outside into the gentle evening air of Constantinople. The city feels slightly different now. The bright energy of the afternoon has softened, and a calm, golden light spreads across the streets. People are beginning to return to their homes after a long day of work. Stone streets glow softly beneath the lowering sun. Shopkeepers carefully close their wooden shutters, and the sounds of the market slowly fade into the background. If we walk through the narrow streets now, we begin to see another peaceful side of Byzantine life, the quiet rhythm of evening. Small houses line the streets, many built from stone and brick. Some homes have simple wooden balconies that lean slightly over the street below. From open windows, warm light spills out into the evening air. Inside these homes, families are preparing their evening meals. You might smell the comforting scent of fresh bread baking in clay ovens. Nearby, someone slowly stirs a pot of lentil stew over a small fire. Meals in the Byzantine world were often simple but warm and filling. Bread, olives, cheese, vegetables, and sometimes fish from the sea formed the heart of most dinners. Wealthier families might add roasted meats or sweet honey pastries. But for most people, the meal was less about luxury and more about gathering together after a long day. Inside a quiet courtyard, a family sits around a low wooden table. Oil lamps flicker softly as the evening sky slowly darkens. The father speaks calmly about the events of the day. A mother pours water into small clay cups. Children listen quietly while enjoying pieces of bread dipped in olive oil. There is no hurry. The pace of life in the Byzantine world followed the rhythm of the sun. And as the sun lowers beyond the distant hills, the entire city slowly prepares for rest. Along the streets, lanterns begin to glow. Their soft light reflects on stone, walls and worn pathways where thousands of footsteps have passed over the centuries. From far away, the faint sound of church bells drifts through the cool evening air. People pause for a moment, listening quietly before continuing home. And as night gently settles over Constantinople, the great city becomes calm once more. A peaceful silence slowly replaces the busy sounds of the day. Just like the quiet evening streets of this ancient city, your thoughts can begin to slow, softly, calmly. Night has now gently settled over the city of Constantinople. The sky above the great capital of the Byzantine Empire slowly turns deep blue, and small stars begin to appear one by one. The busy streets that were once filled with merchants, sailors, and travelers are now quiet and calm. A cool evening breeze moves softly through the narrow stone streets. Oil lamps hang beside doorways, their small flames flickering, gently and casting warm circles of light onto the walls. The shadows of balconies and rooftops stretch quietly across the ground. Most families are now inside their homes, resting after the long rhythm of the day. If we pause outside one of these homes, we might hear the soft sounds of evening life continuing within. Inside, a small oil lamp glows on a wooden table. Its light is warm and steady, illuminating the simple room. Clay bowls from dinner are stacked neatly to the side, and the comforting smell of bread and herbs still lingers in the air. Children sit quietly beside their parents, listening to gentle stories before bed. In the Byzantine world, storytelling was a peaceful and common tradition. Parents often told tales of ancient heroes, wise saints, distant lands, and old legends passed down through generations. These stories were not told loudly or dramatically. They were shared softly, in calm voices meant to soothe the mind after. Outside, the city continues to grow quieter. Even the great harbour rests now. The ships that once arrived with goods from distant places, Egypt, Syria, Greece, and beyond, rock slowly in the calm water beneath the moonlight. Wooden masts creak softly as the sea moves beneath them. Somewhere in the distance, a guard walks along the city wall, his footsteps slow and steady as he watches over the sleeping city. The enormous walls of Constantinople stand strong and silent in the night, protecting the people within. From far across the rooftops, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia rises into the dark sky. Under the pale glow of the moon, its shape looks calm and timeless, like it has quietly watched over the city for centuries. Within homes across Constantinople, oil lamps begin to dim. One by one, the lights fade as families drift into sleep. The great capital of the Byzantine Empire, once filled with movement and voices, now rests peacefully beneath the quiet night sky. And just as the ancient city slowly settles into rest, your mind can do the same. Let your thoughts grow softer, like the gentle night air drifting through the streets of Constantinople. As the quiet night continues across Constantinople, the city seems wrapped in a gentle blanket of calm. Most windows are now dark, and the narrow stone streets rest peacefully beneath the moonlight. Only a few oil lamps remain, glowing softly along the roads, their small flames moving slowly in the cool night breeze. Far away, the calm waters of the harbour reflect the silver light of the moon. Ships that travelled from distant parts of the Byzantine world now rest quietly at their docks. Their sails are folded neatly and ropes tied securely to wooden posts. Occasionally, the gentle sound of water touching the hull of a ship breaks the silence. It is a soft and steady rhythm, almost like breathing. Along the harbour road, a single night watchman walks slowly with a lantern in his hand. His footsteps echo lightly against the stone pavement. The watchman's job is simple but important. Through the quiet hours of the night, he walks the streets to ensure that everything remains safe and peaceful. From time to time, he pauses, lifting the lantern slightly to look around. But the city remains calm. In the distance, the massive walls of Constantinople stand tall and silent. These famous walls protected the Byzantine capital for centuries. Built from layers of strong stone and brick, they stretch for many miles around the city. Even at night, they seem powerful and steep. Guards move quietly along the top of the walls, their figures barely visible against the dark sky. Their watch is slow and patient as the peaceful city sleeps below. Meanwhile, inside the homes of Constantinople, the night has grown very still. Families rest beneath woven blankets. The warmth of the day has faded, and the cool air of night fills the rooms. Somewhere in the darkness, a small candle flickers beside a bedside table, slowly burning lower as the hours pass. Outside, cats wander quietly through the alleys, exploring the silent city. Occasionally, they pause beside a doorway or leap lightly onto a stone wall before disappearing again into the shadows. Above the rooftops, the stars shine gently. People in the Byzantine world often looked to the stars with curiosity and wonder. Scholars and thinkers studied the movements of the heavens. believing the sky held secrets about time, seasons, and the rhythm of the world. But tonight, the stars simply glow quietly above the sleeping city. No crowds, no busy markets, no voices, only the peaceful stillness of night. And as the calm night stretches across Constantinople, the entire city seems to breathe slowly, just as the ships rock gently in the harbor, just as the quiet lantern light sways softly in the streets. Everything moves in a slow, peaceful rhythm. As the quiet night continues across Constantinople, the city seems wrapped in a gentle blanket of calm. Most windows are now dark, and the narrow stone streets rest peacefully beneath the moonlight. Only a few oil lamps remain, glowing softly along the roads. Their small flames moving slowly in the cool night breeze. Far away, the calm waters of the harbor reflect the silver light of the moon. Ships that traveled from distant parts of the Byzantine world now rest quietly at their docks. Their sails are folded neatly and ropes tied securely to wooden posts. Occasionally, the gentle sound of water touching the hull of a ship breaks the silence. It is a soft and steady rhythm, almost like breathing. Along the harbor road, a single night watchman walks slowly with a lantern in his hand. His footsteps echo lightly against the stone pavement. The watchman's job is simple but important. Through the quiet hours of the night, he walks the streets to ensure that everything remains safe and peaceful. From time to time, he pauses, lifting the lantern slightly to look around. But the city remains calm. In the distance, the massive walls of Constantinople stand tall and silent. These famous walls protected the Byzantine capital for centuries. Built from layers of strong stone and brick, they stretch for many miles around the city. Even at night, they seem powerful and steep. Guards move quietly along the top of the walls, their figures barely visible against the dark sky. Their watch is slow and patient as the peaceful city sleeps below. Meanwhile, inside the homes of Constantinople, the night has grown very still. Families rest beneath woven blankets. The warmth of the day has faded, and the cool air of night fills the rooms. Somewhere in the darkness, a small candle flickers beside a bedside table, slowly burning lower as the hours pass. Outside, cats wander quietly through the alleys, exploring the silent city. Occasionally, they pause beside a doorway or leap lightly onto a stone wall before disappearing again into the shadows. Above the rooftops, the stars shine gently. People in the Byzantine world often looked to the stars with curiosity and wonder. Scholars and thinkers studied the movements of the heavens, believing the sky held secrets about time, seasons, and the rhythm of the world. But tonight, the stars simply glow quietly above the sleeping city. No crowds, no busy markets, no voices, only the peaceful stillness of night. And as the calm night stretches across Constantinople, the entire city seems to breathe slowly, just as the ships rock gently in the harbor, just as the quiet lantern light sways softly in the streets. Everything moves in a slow, peaceful rhythm. As the gentle morning light spreads across Constantinople, the city slowly fills with quiet activity. The markets, which only moments ago were calm and nearly empty, now begin to welcome the first visitors of the day. People arrive at an easy, unhurried pace, carrying small woven baskets or simple cloth bags for their daily shopping. The marketplace is one of the most familiar places in the life of a Byzantine citizen. Here, neighbors greet each other with soft smiles and calm conversations. Many people have visited the same stalls for years, buying bread from the same baker or olives from the same farmer, who travels into the city each morning. The air fills with peaceful everyday sounds. Wooden carts roll slowly across the stone ground. Merchants gently arrange their goods, and the quiet murmur of voices rises like a soft background melody. One table is covered with fresh fruit brought from nearby farms. Figs, grapes, and pomegranates rest in woven baskets, their colors glowing softly in the morning sun. At another stall, a fish seller carefully places the morning's catch on a bed of crushed ice. The fish were caught only hours ago in the calm waters near the city shores. A nearby baker lifts warm loaves of bread from a large basket. Steam rises gently from the fresh bread, and the comforting smell spreads through the market. Bread, olives, cheese, and fruit form the simple daily meals of many families in Constantinople. Nothing overly fancy, just wholesome foods that have been part of life here for centuries. As the morning continues, more people arrive. A group of children walk past the stalls with curious eyes, pausing to look at colorful fabrics hanging from a merchant's display. These fabrics come from many parts of the Byzantine world. Some are soft cotton, others fine linen, and a few rare pieces of silk brought from distant lands along ancient trade routes. Nearby, an older man carefully examines a clay jar filled with golden honey. He lifts the lid slightly, letting the sweet scent drift into the cool morning air. Not far from the market square, small workshops also begin their daily work. A potter sits at a spinning wheel, shaping soft clay into bowls and cups with slow, steady hands. A blacksmith gently taps a piece of warm metal, the sound of hammer against iron echoing quietly through the street. Even the animals of the city join the calm morning rhythm. Donkeys pull small carts through the streets. Cats wander between market stalls, hoping for a small piece of fish. And pigeons gather along rooftops, cooing softly as they watch the busy square below. Above it all, the sky has now turned a peaceful shade of blue. The warm sunlight touches every corner of the city, the towers, the homes, the streets, and the markets where daily life continues. It is all gentle, familiar rhythm. The kind of rhythm that has repeated itself here for hundreds of years. Just like the calm flow of time in the great Byzantine city of Constantinople. As the morning continues to unfold across Constantinople, the warm sunlight begins to reach deeper into the streets and courtyards of the city. The marketplace remains gently busy, but life is not limited to the market alone. All around the city, people begin their quiet daily routines inside homes, workshops, and peaceful courtyards. Many Byzantine homes are built around small inner courtyards. These open spaces allow fresh air and sunlight to enter the house, creating a calm and comfortable place for families to gather. In one such courtyard, a woman slowly pours water from a clay jar into a large basin. The water sparkles briefly as it catches the morning light. Nearby, freshly washed clothes hang across a simple rope, moving softly in the gentle breeze. Children play quietly in the corner of the courtyard. Their laughter is soft and light as they chase one another. Between the stone columns, one child rolls a small wooden hoop along the ground while another carefully draws shapes in the dust with a stick. These small games have entertained children for centuries. Inside the homes, simple morning tasks continue. Clay bowls are arranged on wooden tables. Bread is sliced and shared among family members. A small jug of olive oil sits nearby, ready to be poured onto the bread for a simple but nourishing meal. In another part of the city, skilled artisans begin their careful work. A weaver sits beside a large wooden loom. Thread moves slowly between the stretched strings as the weaver patiently creates a piece of cloth. The gentle rhythm of the loom is steady and calming. Across the street, a book scribe prepares his tools for the day. He sits at a wooden desk beside a window where sunlight falls softly onto the table. In front of him lies a sheet of parchment made from carefully prepared animal skin. With slow, steady movements, he dips a thin feather quill into ink. Then he begins to write. Each letter is drawn carefully and beautifully. In the Byzantine world, books are rare and valuable, so scribes take great care to copy texts neatly and patiently. Sometimes they even decorate the pages with small colorful illustrations and golden details. Not far away, the sound of church bells begins to drift gently through the city. The bells ring slowly and calmly, inviting people to pause for a moment of quiet prayer or reflection. Some citizens stop briefly in the streets. Others continue walking, but lower their voices as the sound echoes through the air. Above the rooftops, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia shines softly in the sunlight, watching over the peaceful life of the city. By now, the morning has fully arrived. The cool air of dawn has warmed slightly, and a gentle breeze moves through the narrow streets. Constantinople continues its calm and steady rhythm. Families, workers, merchants, and children all moving through their day in quiet harmony. Nothing rushed, nothing loud, just the peaceful flow of everyday life in the Byzantine Empire. As the day continues in Constantinople, the sunlight slowly moves across the stone streets and tiled rooftops of the city. The morning activities have now settled into a calm and steady rhythm. People move from one task to another without hurry, following routines that have remained familiar for generations. In the workshops of the Byzantine Empire, artisans quietly focus on their crafts. In one small shop, a shoemaker sits on a wooden stool beside his workbench. Strips of leather are laid out neatly before him. With careful hands, he cuts and stitches the material to create strong sandals that will last for many seasons. The sound of his tools is soft and rhythmic. The gentle pull of thread through leather, the quiet tap of a small hammer shaping the sole. Just across the street, another craftsman works with metal. The blacksmith's workshop is warm from the glow of a small furnace. He carefully heats a piece of iron before shaping it with steady strikes of his hammer. Sparks rise briefly into the air before fading. These tools he creates will be used by farmers, builders, and travelers throughout the city. Nearby, the streets remain peacefully active. A woman walks slowly past carrying a basket of vegetables, purchased from the morning market. Two neighbors pause beside a doorway to exchange quiet greetings. Even the animals seem relaxed in the midday warmth. A donkey rests beside a cart, its eyes half closed as it waits patiently for its owner. A small group of pigeons gathers along the edge of a rooftop, watching the movement below. In another corner of the city, the calm waters of the Bosphorus continue to sparkle under the sun. Fishing boats glide slowly across the water, their sails moving gently with the breeze. The sailors aboard work quietly, pulling in nets and guiding their boats along the familiar coastline. Back in the city, the soft sound of church bells once again drifts through the air. Their slow ringing reminds the people of Constantinople to pause for a moment of reflection in the middle of their busy day. Some people stop briefly to bow their heads. Others simply listen as the sound echoes across the rooftops. High above the city, the great dome of Hagia Sophia glows in the bright daylight. From almost anywhere in Constantinople, its golden shape can be seen rising above the homes and markets. For the people who live here, it is a familiar sight, a quiet symbol watching over their everyday lives. And as the afternoon slowly approaches, the calm and steady rhythm of the Byzantine city continues, just as it has for centuries. As the afternoon slowly arrives in Constantinople, the bright sunlight begins to soften. Long shadows stretch across the narrow streets, and the warm air of the day settles gently over the city. By this time, many people pause for a short rest. Daily life in the Byzantine Empire followed the rhythm of the sun. After the busy morning hours, the middle of the day was often a quieter moment, when work slowed and people took time to relax. In small homes and shaded courtyards, families gather for a simple midday meal. A wooden table might hold fresh bread, olives, a small dish of cheese, and perhaps a bowl of beans or lentils. Clay cups filled with cool water or diluted wine sit beside the plates. The meal is simple but comforting. Family members sit together calmly, speaking in soft voices about the events of the morning. Someone may mention a friend seen at the market, or news from a ship that arrived earlier at the harbour. Nearby, children sit cross-legged on the floor, dipping pieces of bread into olive oil. After eating, many people take a moment to rest. Inside the thick stone walls of Byzantine homes, the air remains cool even during the warm afternoon. Some people lie down briefly on simple beds or benches, while others sit quietly near a window where a gentle breeze can pass through. Outside, the streets grow slightly quieter. A few merchants remain at their stalls, but the busy movement of the morning has slowed. Even the animals seem to enjoy the peaceful pause of the afternoon. A donkey stands calmly beside a water trough. Pigeons rest along the edges of rooftops, their wings tucked neatly at their sides. Far away, the waters of the Bosphorus shimmer under the bright sky. Ships that arrived earlier now sit quietly at the harbour docks. Sailors rest in the shade of their vessels, while waiting for the cooler evening. Hours to continue their work. From time to time, a soft breeze moves through the city, carrying the distant scent of the sea. Above everything, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia reflects the afternoon sunlight. Its golden surface shines softly against the blue sky. For centuries, people living in Constantinople have looked up and seen that same peaceful sight. And as the afternoon continues to pass slowly over the city, the calm rhythm of everyday life continues, steady, gentle, and unhurried. As the afternoon slowly moves forward in Constantinople, the warmth of the sun begins to soften. A gentle breeze travels through the narrow streets, bringing with it the faint scent of the nearby sea. After their short rest, many people in the Byzantine Empire return quietly to their daily tasks. The markets begin to grow active again, though the pace remains calm and unhurried. Merchants stand beside their stalls, speaking politely with visitors who have come to purchase food for the evening meal. Baskets filled with figs, grapes, and olives sit neatly on wooden tables. Clay jars of honey and olive oil catch the warm afternoon light. A cloth merchant carefully unfolds a piece of colourful fabric, so a customer can see the fine weaving. The cloth moves softly in the breeze, showing its rich patterns. Not far away, a group of craftsmen continue their steady work. A carpenter shapes a piece of wood into a sturdy chair leg. His tools scrape gently against the wood, creating small curls that fall quietly onto the ground. Across the street, a potter spins his wheel slowly. The clay rises smoothly beneath his hands, forming a simple bowl that will soon be used in a nearby home. These small workshops are an important part of daily life in Constantinople. Many families depend on the careful work of artisans who create the everyday items. People use bowls, tools, clothing, and furniture. Meanwhile, along the streets, children begin to appear again after their afternoon rest. Some play simple games with wooden hoops, rolling them along the smooth stone pavement. Others gather near a fountain, splashing small amounts of water and laughing softly. Their voices echo gently through the quiet streets. Even the animals seem to enjoy the calm of the afternoon. Cats wander between market stalls, hoping to find a small scrap of food. Pigeons flutter down from rooftops, pecking at grains scattered on the ground. Above the city, the sky has turned a warm shade of gold as the sun begins its slow journey toward the horizon. The tall dome of Hagia Sophia reflects this golden light, shining peacefully above the rooftops. For the people of Constantinople, this part of the day feels familiar and comforting. Work continues gently. Neighbors greet one another kindly. Children play in the streets. And the great Byzantine city carries on with its steady, peaceful rhythm, just as it has for many generations. As the afternoon slowly fades in Constantinople, the sunlight begins to turn warmer and softer. The bright blue sky slowly changes into gentle shades of gold and pale orange. This is the quiet hour when many people begin preparing for the evening. In the streets of the Byzantine Empire, merchants carefully start packing their goods. Wooden stalls that were full of activity earlier in the day are slowly cleared. Baskets of fruit are lifted and carried away. Rolls of cloth are folded neatly and placed inside wooden chests. Clay jars are sealed and stored safely for tomorrow's market. The marketplace grows quieter, but the atmosphere remains calm and friendly. Neighbors pause to exchange a few final words before heading home. A merchant wishes his customers a peaceful evening. A farmer carefully leads his donkey through the street, guiding it slowly toward the city gate after a long day of selling vegetables. Meanwhile, in the nearby harbour along the Bosphorus, fishermen return from the water. Their small boats glide toward the wooden docks, moving gently across the calm sea. Nets are pulled in slowly, sometimes carrying the last fish of the day. The sailors work quietly, tying ropes and unloading baskets. Above the harbour, seabirds circle lazily in the evening sky. Back in the city streets, families begin returning home. A mother walks beside her child while carrying a small basket of bread and olives. A father follows close behind, bringing a clay jar of fresh water from a public fountain. Inside many homes, cooking fires are lit. Soft smoke rises slowly from small chimneys as simple evening meals are prepared. The comforting smell of warm bread, herbs, and vegetables drifts gently through the air. The streets grow calmer with each passing moment. Children finish their games and return indoors. Shop doors close quietly. Footsteps become fewer and softer. Above the rooftops, the great dome of Hagia Sophia catches the final light of the setting sun. For a brief moment, the golden surface glows brightly against the darkening sky. Then the light slowly fades. Another peaceful day in the great Byzantine city begins to come to an end. And as evening settles over Constantinople, the calm rhythm of daily life gently prepares to rest once more. Evening now settles gently over Constantinople. The warm colours of sunset slowly fade, and the sky turns a soft shade of deep blue. Across the city of the Byzantine Empire, small oil lamps begin to glow in windows and doorways. Their gentle light flickers against the stone walls, creating a peaceful and comforting atmosphere. Inside many homes, families gather together for their evening meals. A wooden table might hold a simple spread of food, fresh bread, olives, cheese, and a bowl of cooked vegetables. Sometimes there may also be fish from the harbour or a small dish flavoured with herbs. The meals are quiet and relaxed. Family members speak softly about their day. A father may describe the work he completed at the market. A mother might talk about the tasks she finished at home. Children listen and share their own small stories, perhaps about a game played with friends or something interesting they saw in the streets earlier. These moments of conversation are calm and comforting. The soft light of oil lamps fills the room while shadows move gently along the walls. Outside, the streets become quieter with each passing minute. A few people still walk through the city, but most are returning home. Footsteps echo lightly on the stone pavement. From somewhere in the distance, the slow ringing of a church bell can be heard. The sound drifts peacefully across rooftops and courtyards. Nearby, the calm waters of the Bosphorus reflect the soft glow of the rising moon. Ships rest quietly at the docks, their masts swaying slightly in the night breeze. Above the entire city, the great dome of Hagia Sophia stands peacefully in the moonlight. Its enormous shape is darker now, but still clearly visible against the night sky. A silent guardian watching over the sleeping city. Inside homes, families begin finishing their meals. Clay bowls are stacked neatly. Oil lamps are adjusted to burn a little longer before bedtime. Children grow sleepy as the quiet evening continues. And slowly, gently, the busy life of Constantinople fades into a calm and peaceful night once again. Night now rests fully over Constantinople. The streets that were once filled with voices and footsteps during the day have grown quiet and still. Across the city of the Byzantine Empire, most homes are softly lit by the warm glow of small oil lamps. Through open windows, gentle light spills onto the stone streets below. Inside these homes, the final moments of the evening unfold calmly. Parents prepare simple sleeping spaces for their children. Soft woven blankets are spread across wooden beds or low benches. The air inside the homes feels cool and peaceful after the warmth of the day. Children listen quietly as a final story is shared before sleep. In the Byzantine world, storytelling was a gentle tradition. Parents and grandparents often told stories about saints, wise teachers, and travelers from distant lands. The stories were spoken slowly, in soft voices meant to calm the mind. Soon, the children begin to grow sleepy. Their eyes close as the quiet rhythm of the night surrounds them. Outside, the city remains calm. A night watchman walks slowly along the street carrying a lantern. The small light moves gently back and forth as he passes doorways and quiet courtyards. His footsteps echo softly against the stone pavement. High above the city, the stars shine brightly in the clear night sky. People living in Constantinople often looked up at these same stars, wondering about the vast world beyond their city walls. Far away near the water, the calm waves of the Bosphorus move quietly against the harbour docks. The ships resting there rock slowly with the movement of the sea. Above everything, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia stands peacefully beneath the starlight. For centuries, it has watched over the sleeping city. Now, the lights inside homes begin to fade. One by one, oil lamps are gently extinguished. The city of Constantinople grows darker and quieter. The markets rest. The streets rest. The harbour rests. And just like the peaceful city beneath the stars, the calm story of everyday life in the Byzantine world slowly drifts toward sleep. Deep night now surrounds Constantinople. The busy sounds of the day feel far away, replaced by a peaceful stillness that rests gently over the city. Most homes in the Byzantine Empire are now dark. Only a few small lamps remain glowing in windows, where someone might still be finishing a quiet task or saying a final evening prayer. The air outside feels cool and calm. A light breeze moves slowly through the narrow stone streets, brushing past wooden doors and small balconies. The city seems almost asleep. Along the quiet roads, a night watchman continues his slow walk. He carries a lantern that casts a small golden circle of light on the ground as he moves. From time to time he pauses, listening carefully. But there is very little to hear. Only the distant sound of water moving gently along the harbour, near the edge of the city. The calm waves of the Bosphorus touch the docks with a soft rhythm. Ships tied to the wooden piers rock slowly in the darkness. Their tall masts sway gently against the starlit sky. The sailors resting aboard their vessels sleep quietly after long journeys across the sea. Back in the city streets, a cat slips silently between shadows, exploring the peaceful night. Pigeons sleep along the edges of rooftops, their feathers tucked close to keep warm in the cool air. High above everything, the stars shine brightly. The people of Constantinople often looked at the night sky with curiosity and wonder. Scholars studied the movement of the stars, believing they helped mark the passage of time and the changing seasons. But tonight, the stars simply glow softly above the resting city. From far across the rooftops, the familiar shape of Hagia Sophia rises into the dark sky. Even in the quiet of night, its massive dome remains visible, standing calmly as it has for centuries. Within homes throughout Constantinople, people sleep peacefully. Farmers who brought vegetables to the market, sailors who guided ships across the sea, merchants who traded goods in the busy squares, families who shared simple meals and quiet stories, all now resting beneath the same peaceful sky. And as the calm night continues across the great Byzantine city, everything moves in a slow and gentle rhythm. A rhythm of quiet breathing, a rhythm of deep rest, a rhythm that carries the city softly through the night until morning arrives once again. As the quiet hours of night continue in Constantinople, the city rests beneath a sky full of calm, steady stars. The great capital of the Byzantine Empire feels peaceful and still. The busy life of the day has faded completely, leaving only soft nighttime sounds. From the direction of the harbour, the gentle movement of water can be heard. The calm waves of the Bosphorus move quietly against the docks. Ships that arrived earlier now drift slowly with the tide. There, wooden hulls creak softly as they rock back and forth. Tall masts stand like silent towers beneath the moonlight. Sailors rest below the decks, sleeping deeply after long days of travel and work. Back in the city, the narrow streets remain calm and nearly empty. Occasionally, a lantern glows in the window of a home, where someone may still be awake. Perhaps a scholar studying an old manuscript, or a traveller who has only just arrived and is settling in for the night. But most people are asleep. Inside the homes of Constantinople, families rest peacefully beneath simple blankets. The cool night air flows gently through open windows, carrying with it the distant scent of the sea. Clay oil lamps have mostly burned out, leaving the rooms dark and quiet. Above the rooftops, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia stands beneath the moon. Even in darkness, its outline is easy to recognize. For centuries, it has watched over the city through bright mornings, busy afternoons, quiet evenings, and nights like this one. Nearby churches and monasteries also rest quietly in the stillness of night. Inside their stone walls, monks sleep in simple rooms, preparing to rise early for morning prayers when the first light appears. Beyond the city walls, fields and small villages lie peacefully beneath the same sky. The entire land surrounding Constantinople seems to share the same calm rhythm. Nothing hurried, nothing loud, just the slow passing of time beneath the stars. And as the night deepens, the great Byzantine city continues to sleep peacefully, waiting for the soft return of dawn and the gentle beginning of another ordinary day. Slowly, very slowly, the deep night over Constantinople begins to soften. The sky is still dark, but along the far eastern horizon a faint hint of pale light quietly appears. It is the earliest moment of dawn. The great city of the Byzantine Empire is still asleep, yet the world around it is gently beginning to wake. The stars that filled the sky only a short while ago now begin to fade, one by one. Above the rooftops, the enormous dome of Hagia Sophia stands quietly in the dim, blue light of early morning. For centuries, this great building has watched the cycle of night turning slowly into day. In Sahaba, the calm waters of the Bosphorus reflect the first soft colors of dawn. Ships tied along the docks drift gently with the quiet tide. There, ropes stretch and relax with each slow movement of the water. Some sailors are beginning to stir below the decks. A few footsteps sound softly on wooden boards, as someone wakes early to prepare for the day's work. Back inside the city streets, the night watchman completes the final steps of his long walk. His lantern burns lower now as the sky grows brighter. Soon the watch will end and the daytime life of the city will begin again. From a small courtyard, the first bird begins to sing. Then another answers from somewhere across the rooftops. The cool morning air carries their quiet songs through the narrow stone streets. Inside homes throughout Constantinople, a few early risers begin to wake. A baker lights his oven to prepare fresh bread for the morning market. A monk inside a nearby monastery quietly rises for early prayer. In another home, a merchant opens a wooden window and looks out toward the slowly brightening sky. The world feels calm and fresh in these early moments. Soon the markets will open again. The streets will fill with footsteps. Ships will arrive and depart from the harbor. But right now, the city remains in a gentle pause between night and day. A peaceful breath before everything begins again. And as the first golden rays of sunrise slowly touch the towers, rooftops, and marble walls of Constantinople, a new day quietly begins in the great city of the Byzantine world. Morning light now spreads gently across Constantinople. The quiet blue of dawn slowly turns into warm gold as the sun rises higher above the horizon. The great city of the Byzantine Empire begins another peaceful day. Soft light touches the rooftops first, then the towers, then the wide stone streets below. In the harbour, the quarters of the Bosphorus shimmer gently in the early sunlight. Ships that rested through the night now begin to show signs of life again. Sailors stretch their arms and step onto the wooden decks. Ropes are checked. Sails are folded neatly, waiting for the right wind. Nearby, fishermen prepare their small boats, ready to glide out onto the calm morning water. Back in the city, doors slowly open along the streets. A baker places fresh loaves of bread on a wooden table outside his shop. The warm smell of baking bread drifts through the air, inviting the first early customers. Merchants begin arranging baskets of fruit, vegetables, and spices in the market squares. The sounds of footsteps return as people walk through the narrow streets. Not hurried, not loud, just the gentle rhythm of daily life beginning once more. Children peek out from doorways while their parents prepare for the day ahead. A donkey carrying small sacks of grain walks slowly through the street beside its owner. The city is waking calmly, naturally, as it has for hundreds of years. Above everything, the great dome of Hagia Sophia shines in the soft morning light. Its golden surfaces catch the rising sun, glowing warmly above the city. For generations, people in Constantinople have begun their mornings beneath its watchful presence. Some walk quietly toward its great doors for morning prayer. Others simply pass by on their way to work in the markets, workshops, and docks. Life continues in its steady rhythm. Morning follows night. Work follows rest. And the great Byzantine city moves forward through another peaceful day, just as it has for centuries. Calm, steady, and full of quiet stories waiting to unfold. As the morning continues in Constantinople, the city slowly fills with the gentle rhythm of daily life. The sun now rises higher above the rooftops, warming the stone streets of the great capital of the Byzantine Empire. Shops and market stalls begin to open one by one. Wooden shutters swing outward, revealing small stores filled with cloth, pottery, spices, and tools. Merchants greet their neighbors as they arrange their goods for the day. The morning market becomes livelier, though the mood remains calm and unhurried. Farmers from nearby villages arrive with baskets of fresh vegetables and fruit. They carefully place their produce on wooden tables while early buyers walk slowly between the stalls. The quiet sound of conversation drifts through the square. People greet one another warmly, exchanging news about families, harvests, and ships that arrived during the night. Nearby, a craftsman opens the door to his workshop. Inside, sunlight streams through a small window, lighting shelves filled with carved wood and polished metal tools. Soon, the soft tapping of his work begins. In another street, a group of children walk together, laughing quietly as they carry small baskets for morning errands. Their footsteps echo gently along the stone road. Above the city, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia glows brightly beneath the clear sky. Its towering presence can be seen from nearly every part of Constantinople. For many people beginning their day, it is a familiar and comforting sight. Some pause briefly near its entrance to whisper a prayer before continuing on their way. Farther down the hill, the harbour remains busy but peaceful. Along the calm waters of the Bosphorus, sailors load barrels, crates, and woven baskets onto ships preparing to travel across the sea. The sound of ropes tightening and wooden boards creaking mixes with the distant calls of seabirds circling above the water. Yet, even as the city grows busier, the feeling of calm remains. Life here follows a steady pace. People work, talk, trade, and travel, but always within the gentle rhythm of the ancient city. The golden sunlight spreads across rooftops, courtyards, and marble walls. And another ordinary morning continues in Constantinople, just as it has for generations. Late morning arrives in Constantinople, and the city settles into the steady rhythm of the day. The warm sun now stands higher in the sky above the capital of the Byzantine Empire, casting bright light across rooftops, courtyards, and busy streets. In the market squares, merchants continue welcoming visitors. Tables are filled with colourful fruits, woven baskets, jars of oil, and freshly baked bread. Buyers move calmly from stall to stall, speaking with familiar merchants they have known for many years. The air carries many small sounds, quiet conversations, the rustle of cloth, the gentle clinking of pottery being arranged on wooden shelves. Nothing feels rushed. Everything moves with the steady pace of daily life. Nearby, a group of craftsmen work carefully inside their open workshops. One shapes clay on a spinning wheel, forming smooth bowls and jars. Another hammers thin sheets of metal into simple tools. Each movement is slow and practiced, learned through many years of experience. Children walk through the streets, carrying small bundles or baskets for their families. Some pause briefly to watch the craftsmen at work before continuing along their way. Above the city, the great dome of Hagia Sophia shines beneath the clear sky. Its tall windows reflect the sunlight, and the marble walls glow softly in the warmth of the day. People pass by its massive doors throughout the morning, travelers, merchants, priests, and families, each continuing their own quiet journey through the city. Down at the harbour, ships rest beside the docks along the waters of the Bosphorus. Some crews prepare their vessels for new voyages across distant seas. Others unload goods that will soon appear in the markets above the harbour. Seabirds glide slowly through the bright sky, their shadows drifting across the water below. And through it all, Constantinople continues its calm and steady flow of life. A city filled with work, voices, footsteps, and quiet moments, all moving together beneath the warm midday sun. By midday, sunlight shines brightly over Constantinople, filling the great city with warmth and light. The capital of the Byzantine Empire now moves through the busiest part of the day. Though even at its busiest, the rhythm of life feels steady and calm. In the markets, people continue walking slowly between rows of wooden stalls. Colourful fabrics hang gently in the warm air. Baskets overflow with figs, olives, and grapes. Clay jars filled with oil and honey stand neatly on wooden tables. Merchants speak with customers in friendly voices, carefully weighing goods on small balanced scales. Nearby, the smell of fresh bread and warm spices drifts through the streets. Some people pause beneath shaded archways to rest for a moment, escaping the strongest heat of the midday sun. Others sit together in small courtyards, sharing simple meals and quiet conversation. Children run through narrow lanes, their laughter echoing softly against the stone walls. Above everything, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia shines brightly in the clear sky. Its golden roof catches the sunlight, making it visible from far across the city. Inside its vast halls, visitors continue to move quietly beneath the arches. Some stand in silent prayer, while others admire the beautiful mosaics glowing softly in the daylight. Down by the harbour, ships rest beside the docks along the calm waters of the Bosphorus. Sailors work steadily, securing ropes, moving cargo, and preparing their vessels for journeys across the sea. The gentle sound of waves brushing against the wooden piers blends with the distant calls of seabirds circling overhead. Yet, even with the activity of midday, the city still feels balanced and peaceful. Work continues. Voices rise and fall. Footsteps move along the ancient roads. And beneath the bright sun, another ordinary afternoon begins to unfold in the timeless streets of Constantinople. As the afternoon slowly continues in Constantinople, the bright midday sun begins to soften. The golden light spreads warmly across the capital of the Byzantine Empire, touching rooftops, stone streets, and quiet courtyards throughout the city. In the market squares, the busiest hours of the day are beginning to pass. Some merchants sit beside their stalls, enjoying a short rest while visitors continue to wander calmly through the rows of goods. Baskets that were full in the morning are now lighter. Fresh bread has mostly been sold, leaving only a few warm loaves resting on wooden tables. The air carries the gentle mix of many familiar smells: fruit, spices, warm bread, and the faint scent of the nearby sea. Along the streets, craftsmen continue their careful work. Inside a small workshop, a potter slowly shapes another clay jar on his wheel. His hands move smoothly and patiently, guided by years of experience. Nearby, a tailor sits beside an open window, stitching cloth with quiet concentration while sunlight falls softly across the fabric. Children return home carrying small bundles for their families, their footsteps echoing lightly along the stone paths. Above the city, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia glows warmly beneath the afternoon sky. Sunlight reflects gently from its windows and marble walls, creating a soft golden glow that can be seen from far across Constantinople. Some people pause briefly in the shade of its great entrance, enjoying a moment of cool air before continuing their day. Down at the harbour, ships still move slowly along the calm waters of the Bosphorus. A few vessels begin preparing to depart before evening arrives. Sailors adjust ropes and raise sails while seabirds circle above the water. The afternoon breeze moves gently through the city streets. Cloth banners flutter quietly. Tree leaves rustle in shaded courtyards. And as the sun slowly moves toward the western sky, Constantinople continues its peaceful rhythm, working, resting, and living beneath the warm light of another calm day. As the afternoon gently fades in Constantinople, the sunlight begins to turn warmer and softer. The great capital of the Byzantine Empire slowly moves toward the quiet hours of evening. Long, golden rays stretch across the stone streets and rooftops. The busy energy of the day begins to calm, replaced by a slower and more peaceful rhythm. In the markets, merchants start gathering their remaining goods. Wooden stalls that were full of fruit, bread, and cloth earlier in the day now begin to empty. Baskets are packed, tables are wiped clean, and shutters slowly close. Some neighbours pause to exchange a few final words before heading home. The soft murmur of conversation drifts through the cooling air. Children walk back through the streets beside their families, carrying small bundles from the market. Their laughter echoes lightly between the old stone walls. Nearby, craftsmen finish their final tasks of the day. A potter carefully sets newly shaped jars aside to dry. A blacksmith places his tools down and lets the small fire in his forge slowly fade. The long day of work is nearly complete. Above the city, the great dome of Hagia Sophia glows, beautifully in the warm light of the lowering sun. Its golden surfaces reflect the colors of the evening sky, soft shades of gold, orange and pale red. People pass quietly along the streets nearby, some stopping briefly to admire the peaceful view. Down by the harbour, the waters of the Bosphorus shimmer with the colours of the sunset. Ships returning from short journeys glide slowly toward the docks. Sailors tie their vessels securely, preparing to rest after a long day at sea. Seabirds circle above the calm water before settling along the harbour walls. A gentle evening breeze moves through the city. Doors begin to close. Small lamps are lit inside homes. And as the sun slowly sinks below the horizon, the great city of Constantinople begins its quiet transition from day into night once again. Evening settles gently over Constantinople. The sun has now slipped below the horizon, leaving behind a sky painted with soft shades of orange, pink, and deepening blue. The great capital of the Byzantine Empire slowly moves into the calm hours of night. Along the streets, the last light of day fades from the stone walls and rooftops. Merchants have finished closing their stalls, and the busy markets that were full of voices earlier now grow quiet. Wooden doors close gently. Footsteps become fewer. Families return to their homes after the long day. Inside small houses across the city, warm lamps begin to glow. Soft light spills through open windows. As evening meals are shared and quiet, conversations fill the rooms. The smell of bread, vegetables, and simple cooking drifts through the cooling air. Children sit beside their parents, listening to stories or speaking about the events of the day. Above the city skyline, the great dome of Hagia Sophia now stands in the soft blue light of early evening. Its enormous shape slowly darkens as the sky grows deeper in color. Yet it remains one of the most recognizable sights in Constantinople, watching calmly over the city as night approaches. Some visitors still pass quietly through its great doors, stepping inside for moments of prayer and reflection before returning home. Down at the harbour, the waters of the Bosphorus grow darker as the last sunlight disappears. Ships rest quietly beside the docks. Lanterns hang from a few masts, their gentle light reflecting across the calm water. Sailors speak softly as they prepare to sleep after a long day of work. A cool evening breeze moves through the city streets, carrying the faint scent of the sea. The sounds of the day slowly fade, and as the first stars begin to appear above Constantinople, the peaceful rhythm of night quietly returns to the ancient Byzantine city. Night slowly deepens over Constantinople. The sky above the capital of the Byzantine Empire has turned a deep shade of blue, and more stars begin to appear one by one across the quiet sky. The busy movement of the day has almost completely faded. Stone streets that were once filled with footsteps now rest in peaceful silence. Most homes have closed their wooden doors for the night. Inside, small oil lamps glow softly, casting warm light across simple rooms, where families are finishing their evening meals. Soft conversations drift gently through the air. Some people share stories about the day's work. Others simply sit quietly, enjoying the calm after a long day. In a few homes, children have already fallen asleep beneath warm blankets while their parents quietly tidy the room or prepare for rest. Above the rooftops, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia stands peacefully beneath the starlit sky. Its great shape is now mostly shadow, but its presence remains calm and steady, just as it has been for centuries. Only a few small lanterns glow near its entrance as the final visitors leave for the night. Down by the harbour, the waters of the Bosphorus move slowly in the darkness. Ships tied along the docks rock gently with the quiet tide. Lanterns hanging from their masts sway softly, reflecting small golden lights across the dark water. Sailors settle into their sleeping places below the decks, resting after their long journeys across the sea. Along the quiet streets, a night watchman begins his slow walk through the city. His lantern creates a small circle of light as he moves past silent homes and empty markets. The cool night air flows gently through narrow alleyways and quiet courtyards. And high above the resting city, the stars continue their silent journey across the sky. Another peaceful night has arrived in Constantinople, calm, quiet and steady beneath the endless stars. Night now fully surrounds Constantinople, wrapping the great city in a calm and gentle stillness. The capital of the Byzantine Empire has quieted after a long day. The lively markets, busy workshops, and crowded streets have all settled into peaceful silence. Above the rooftops, the sky stretches wide and dark, filled with countless stars. They shine softly over the ancient city, just as they have 4 generations of people who once lived and walked these same streets. Along the narrow stone roads, only an occasional lantern glows beside a doorway. The warm light flickers gently, casting small shadows across the quiet walls of homes that now rest for the night. Inside those homes, families sleep peacefully. After a day of work in markets, fields, workshops, and ships, the people of Constantinople lie beneath simple blankets, enjoying the calm comfort of rest. A few soft sounds still drift through the night. A wooden shutter creaks lightly in the breeze. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks once before the city returns again to silence. Above everything, the great dome of Hagia Sophia rises calmly into the night sky. Even in darkness, its vast shape remains visible, a quiet guardian standing watch over the sleeping city. For centuries it has stood here, through bright days and silent nights, through storms, celebrations, and peaceful evenings like this one. Down by the harbour, the calm waters of the Bosphorus move slowly beneath the starlight. Ships tied along the docks rock gently with the tide. Their tall masts sway softly against the sky, while small lanterns glow faintly on a few decks. The sailors aboard these vessels rest deeply after their long journeys across distant seas. A cool night breeze moves quietly through the harbour, brushing across the water and flowing gently into the quiet streets above. The entire city seems to breathe slowly in the peaceful darkness. Nothing hurried, nothing loud, just the calm passing of time beneath the stars. And as the silent night continues over Constantinople, the great Byzantine city rests peacefully, waiting for the distant return of dawn and the gentle beginning of another day. The quiet night continues over Constantinople, stretching peacefully across the great city like a soft blanket of darkness. Most of the capital of the Byzantine Empire now sleeps deeply. The busy sounds that once filled the streets during the day have completely faded, leaving only gentle nighttime stillness. High above the rooftops, the sky is filled with countless bright stars. They shine clearly in the cool night air, reflecting faintly on the rooftops and quiet courtyards below. From time to time, a slow breeze moves through the narrow stone streets. It brushes lightly against wooden doors and small balconies, carrying the distant scent of the sea through the sleeping city. Most homes are dark now. Inside, families rest after the long day. Merchants who spent the morning in the markets sleep peacefully. Sailors who worked along the harbour rest below the decks of their ships. Craftsmen who shaped wood, clay, and metal during the day now enjoy the deep silence of night. Above everything, the great dome of Hagia Sophia rises calmly into the dark sky, even without the sunlight of day. Its enormous shape remains visible, a quiet and steady presence that has watched over the city for centuries. The massive building stands peacefully while the world around it sleeps. Far below the city streets, the calm waters of the Bosphorus move slowly through the night. Ships tied to the wooden docks rock gently with the tide. There, ropes stretch softly as the water rises and falls. A few lanterns still glow faintly aboard some vessels, their reflections dancing quietly across the dark water. Occasionally a seabird calls once before settling again into the stillness. Along the silent streets, a lone night watchman walks his slow path through the city. His lantern casts a small golden circle of light across the stone road. As he moves from one corner to the next, everything else remains calm. The stars continue their quiet journey across the sky, and the great city of Constantinople rests peacefully beneath them, calm, silent, and waiting patiently for the first gentle light of morning to return once again. The night in Constantinople continues quietly, wrapped in a calm and peaceful stillness. The great capital of the Byzantine Empire rests beneath a sky filled with soft starlight. The busy movement of the day now feels very far away. Stone streets that once echoed with footsteps are now silent. Market squares that were full of voices and trade only hours earlier now sit empty beneath the quiet night sky. A cool breeze moves slowly through the narrow streets, brushing past wooden doors, small balconies, and quiet courtyards. It carries the faint scent of the nearby sea through the sleeping city. Inside homes across Constantinople, families sleep peacefully. Merchants rest after long hours in the markets. Craftsmen sleep after shaping wood, metal, and clay throughout the day. Sailors who worked along the harbour now lie quietly below the decks of their ships. Even the animals of the city are calm. Cats curl up beside warm walls. Pigeons sleep along the edges of rooftops with their feathers tucked close. Above everything, the great dome of Hagia Sophia rises calmly beneath the stars. Its enormous shape stands quietly in the darkness, just as it has for centuries. Through bright days and silent nights, the great church has watched over the city without changing. Along the distant waterfront, the gentle waters of the Bosphorus move slowly in the darkness. Ships tied along the docks sway softly with the tide. Their tall masts stand like dark lines against the star-filled sky. A few lanterns still glow faintly on the decks. their reflections shimmering quietly across the water. From time to time, a night watchman walks along the silent streets with a small lantern in his hand. Its warm light moves slowly across the stone road as he continues his calm patrol. Through the sleeping city, everything feels still. Everything feels steady. And as the long night gently continues, the great Byzantine city rests peacefully beneath the endless stars, waiting patiently for the first pale light of dawn to appear once again. The deep night continues peacefully over Constantinople, where the great city rests beneath a calm sky filled with quiet stars. The capital of the Byzantine Empire now feels completely still. The sounds of the busy day are long gone, replaced by the gentle silence that arrives only in the quietest hours of night. High above the rooftops, the stars shine clearly in the cool night air. They glow softly over the ancient streets, towers, and courtyards that have stood here for centuries. A slow breeze moves through the narrow stone lanes, touching the walls of homes and drifting through open windows, where families sleep peacefully. Inside those homes, the warm glow of evening lamps has faded. Most rooms are now dark and quiet. Merchants rest after their long hours in the markets. Craftsmen sleep after a full day of careful work. Children dream quietly beneath simple blankets while the calm night surrounds them. Above the city skyline, the great dome of Hagia Sophia rises silently into the dark sky. Its vast shape is only faintly visible in the starlight, but its presence remains steady and peaceful. For hundreds of years, it has watched over the city through nights just like this one. Far below, the calm waters of the Bosphorus move gently in the darkness. Ships resting at the harbour docks rock slowly with the tide. Their ropes stretch and relax softly as the water shifts beneath them. A lantern hanging from a ship's mast sways gently, sending small golden reflections across the quiet water. Some sailors sleep below the decks, while others rest on the open boards under the cool night air. Along the silent streets, a watchman continues his slow walk through the city. His lantern glows softly, lighting a small path as he moves past quiet homes and empty markets. Everything around him remains calm. Everything rests. And as the peaceful hours of night slowly pass, the great city of Constantinople continues to sleep. Beneath the soft glow of the stars are calm, steady, and waiting for the distant return of morning light. The quiet night still stretches gently over Constantinople, holding the ancient city in a deep and peaceful calm. The capital of the Byzantine Empire now rests in the slowest hours of the night, the time when almost every window is dark and the streets lie silent beneath the stars. Above the rooftops, the sky looks wide and endless. Thousands of small stars shimmer softly across the darkness, their faint light resting upon the towers, courtyards, and quiet homes of the sleeping city. A gentle breeze drifts through the narrow stone streets. It moves slowly between the buildings, touching wooden doors, quiet gardens, and the edges of silent market stalls that will not open again until morning. Inside the homes of Constantinople, families continue to sleep peacefully. The long day of work and movement has faded completely. Merchants, craftsmen, sailors, and children all rest beneath the calm comfort of night. Occasionally, a small sound breaks the stillness. A wooden sign creaks softly as it sways in the breeze. Somewhere nearby, a cat moves quietly across a rooftop before disappearing again into the shadows. But these sounds pass quickly and silence soon returns. Above the entire city, the great dome of Hagia Sophia rises calmly beneath the star-filled sky. Even in darkness, the massive building stands as one of the most recognizable shapes in Constantinople. For centuries it has remained here, watching quietly over the city through countless peaceful nights just like this one. Along the distant waterfront, the calm waters of the Bosphorus continue their slow movement through the night. Ships resting beside the docks sway gently with the tide. Their tall masts draw dark lines against the sky while faint lantern lights shimmer across the water below. A few sailors sleep on the quiet decks, wrapped in blankets beneath the cool air. The city breathes slowly in the calm darkness. Nothing hurried, nothing loud. Just the soft passing of time beneath the stars. And as the peaceful night continues, Constantinople rests quietly, waiting for the first pale glow of dawn. That will eventually begin another gentle day in the great Byzantine city. The night grows even quieter over Constantinople as the deepest hours before dawn slowly arrive. The capital of the Byzantine Empire now rests in a peaceful stillness that feels almost timeless. The sky above the city remains wide and dark, filled with steady stars that glow softly over the ancient rooftops and towers. There, light is faint, yet it gently touches the marble walls. Narrow streets and quiet courtyards below. A cool breeze drifts slowly through the sleeping city. It moves through small alleyways and across empty market squares where wooden stalls stand silent until morning returns. Most homes remain dark. Inside them, families sleep comfortably after the long day that came before. The merchants who filled the markets, the craftsmen who worked patiently in their shops, and the sailors who guided ships through the harbor all rest peacefully now. Even the animals of the city seem to share the calm. Cats curl quietly beside warm walls. Pigeons rest along the edges of rooftops with their feathers, tucked close against the cool air. Above everything, the enormous dome of Hagia Sophia rises silently into the night sky. Its shape is faint in the starlight, yet it remains a steady and familiar presence over Constantinople. For centuries, it has stood here while generations of people lived their daily lives beneath its shadow, far below the city walls. The calm waters of the Bosphorus continue their slow and quiet movement. Ships resting at the harbour docks sway gently with the tide. Their ropes stretch softly as the water rises and falls, while a few small lanterns glow faintly on the decks. Occasionally, a seabird calls in the distance before the silence returns again. Along the quiet streets, a lone watchman continues his calm patrol. His lantern casts a warm circle of light on the stone road as he walks, slowly past silent homes and closed shops. Everything remains peaceful. Everything remains still. And as these quiet moments before dawn pass gently across the city, Constantinople continues to sleep beneath the calm stars, waiting patiently for the first soft light of morning to appear once again. The quiet hours before dawn settle softly over Constantinople. This is the calmest moment of the entire night in the capital of the Byzantine Empire, when the world seems to pause in deep silence before the coming of a new day. The sky above the city remains dark, but if you look closely toward the distant horizon, the faintest hint of pale light has begun to appear. The stars still shine overhead, though some now fade slowly as the night moves gently toward morning. The streets of Constantinople remain empty and peaceful. Market stalls stand quietly where merchants will soon return. Wooden doors stay closed, and windows remain dark as families continue sleeping inside their homes. A soft breeze moves through the narrow stone lanes, touching the quiet buildings and drifting through open courtyards. It carries with it the cool freshness that arrives only in the final hours of night. Above the rooftops, the enormous dome of Hagia Sophia stands calmly beneath the fading stars. The massive church has witnessed countless mornings like this, the slow and gentle moment when night begins to release the city back to daylight. Its great shape is still wrapped in shadow, yet soon the first pale light of dawn will touch its marble walls and golden dome. Far below, the calm waters of the Bosphorus continue their quiet movement. Ships resting along the docks sway gently in the dark water. Most sailors remain asleep below the decks, wrapped in blankets as their vessels rock softly with the tide. A lantern hanging from one mast flickers faintly, its small glow reflecting across the surface of the harbour. Along the silent streets, the night watchman nears the end of his long walk. His lantern now burns lower, its warm light moving slowly along the stone road as he completes his final rounds. Soon, others will begin to wake. The first baker will light his oven, a monk will rise for morning prayers, and the city will slowly begin another peaceful day. But for now, Constantinople remains quiet, resting gently in the final moments of night as dawn patiently approaches. The first quiet moments of dawn begin to touch Constantinople. The night that once covered the capital of the Byzantine Empire is slowly fading, replaced by a gentle pale light rising along the eastern horizon. The sky is still mostly dark, but a soft grey-blue glow now stretches slowly above the rooftops. Stars begin disappearing one by one as morning approaches. The streets remain peaceful and empty for now. Market squares are still quiet, their wooden stalls waiting patiently for the merchants who will soon return. A cool morning breeze flows softly through the narrow stone roads, bringing with it the clean freshness of a new day. Above the city skyline, the massive dome of Hagia Sophia slowly becomes more visible as the darkness fades. The great church rises calmly above Constantinople, just as it has for centuries, welcoming the arrival of another morning. Soon the golden light of the rising sun will touch its marble walls and windows. Along the waterfront, the calm waters of the Bosphorus reflect the faint colours of dawn. Ships tied beside the harbour docks sway gently with the quiet tide. A few sailors begin to stir below the decks, slowly waking as the sky grows brighter. The night watchman completes his final walk through the streets. His lantern, which guided him through the darkness, now seems less necessary as the first light of morning spreads across the city. In a small home nearby, a wooden window opens quietly. Someone has awakened early, looking out at the peaceful dawn. Soon, the baker will begin lighting his oven. Monks inside nearby monasteries will rise for their morning prayers. And the markets of Constantinople will once again fill with the gentle sounds of daily life. But for this moment, the city rests in a soft and peaceful pause balanced between night and day, darkness and light. A new morning is arriving slowly over Constantinople. The early light of morning now spreads gently across Constantinople. The long, quiet night over the capital of the Byzantine Empire has slowly come to an end, and the soft glow of dawn begins to wake the ancient city. The sky above the rooftops shifts from pale grey to a gentle shade of gold. The first rays of sunlight quietly appear over the distant horizon, touching towers, walls, and narrow streets. For a moment, the entire city feels calm and fresh. The markets are still empty. The workshops remain closed. But the peaceful energy of a new day is beginning to stir. Above the skyline, the great dome of Hagia Sophia catches the very first light of the rising sun. Its tall windows glow softly as the morning. Brightness spreads across the marble walls. The enormous building slowly awakens along with the city around it. Soon its doors will open again, welcoming visitors who come for quiet prayer and reflection. Down at the harbour, the calm waters of the Bosphorus shimmer with the golden colours of the sunrise. Ships resting along the docks move gently with the tide. Some sailors begin climbing onto the wooden decks, stretching their arms as they greet the new day. Seabirds glide slowly across the brightening sky, their wings catching the early sunlight. In the streets above, the first doors begin to open. A baker lights his oven, preparing fresh bread for the morning market. A merchant steps outside his home and looks toward the rising sun. Children slowly wake as the sounds of the morning begin to return. The city breathes again. Another ordinary day is beginning in Constantinople. Markets will open. Ships will travel across the sea. Craftsmen will return to their careful work. And life will once again move through the ancient streets of the Byzantine world, just as it has for centuries. Calm, steady, and peaceful beneath the gentle light of the morning sun. Morning continues to grow brighter across Constantinople, and the great city slowly wakes to the gentle rhythm of a new day. The warm light of the rising sun spreads across the capital of the Byzantine Empire, touching rooftops, towers, and the long stone streets that waned through the ancient neighborhoods. The quiet calm of dawn begins to shift into the soft movement of early morning life. Doors open along the narrow streets. Windows are pushed outward to welcome the cool, fresh air. People step outside their homes, greeting the peaceful morning. Above the skyline, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia shines gently in the sunlight. Its golden surface reflects the morning light, making it glow warmly above the city. For generations, this great building has welcomed the start of countless mornings just like this one. Nearby, a few early visitors walk quietly toward its massive doors, beginning their day with a moment of calm reflection. In the streets below, the first signs of work begin to appear. A baker places warm loaves of bread on a wooden table outside his small shop. The comforting smell drifts through the air, inviting neighbors to begin their morning errands. Merchants slowly carry baskets and bundles toward the market square, preparing their stalls for the day ahead. Their footsteps echo softly along the stone paths. Down by the harbour, the waters of the Bosphorus sparkle under the growing sunlight. Ships resting beside the docks begin to stir with activity. Sailors move along the wooden decks, checking ropes and preparing their vessels for another journey across the sea. Seabirds glide across the brightening sky, circling above the calm harbour waters. The city is waking again. Not suddenly, not loudly, but slowly, gently, just as it has done every morning for centuries. And as the sunlight continues spreading across Constantinople, another peaceful day begins in the great Byzantine city. The gentle rhythm of morning continues across Constantinople as the sun climbs higher into the sky. The capital of the Byzantine Empire is now fully awake, though the mood of the city remains calm and steady. Warm sunlight fills the narrow streets and open squares. Stone walls that were cool and shadowed during the night now glow softly beneath the growing light of the day. The markets slowly come to life. Merchants arrange their tables with care, placing baskets of fruit, jars of oil, and folded cloth where visitors can easily see them. The quiet murmur of conversation begins to return as neighbors greet one another and speak about the morning ahead. Above the city, the grand dome of Hagia Sophia shines brightly in the clear sky. Its tall windows reflect the sunlight, sending soft, golden light across the marble walls. People walk calmly along the streets nearby, some entering its great doors for a moment of prayer before continuing their day. In a nearby courtyard, children begin their morning games. Their laughter drifts gently through the air as they run along the stone paths. A few older neighbors sit nearby, watching quietly while enjoying the warm morning sunshine. Craftsmen open the doors of their small workshops. Inside, sunlight falls through narrow windows onto wooden tables filled with tools and materials. A potter slowly begins shaping clay on his wheel, while a tailor carefully measures cloth beside an open doorway. Down by the harbour, the calm waters of the Bosphorus shimmer beneath the bright sky. Ships begin preparing for their journeys. Sailors move carefully along the decks, checking ropes and folding sails as seabirds circle overhead. The city now moves with the comfortable rhythm of a new day. Footsteps return to the streets. Voices rise gently in the markets. And the ancient city of Constantinople continues its peaceful life beneath the warm and steady morning sun.